Yes. I can finally speak today, kind of, so that's good. Hi. If you met me in roleplay yesterday, I promise I'm nicer in person. And I am here with two wonderful people that I have known for a long time, but this event is the first time we see each other in person, so that's amazing. And I'm just gonna leave the room to my wonderful guests, and starting with Cynthia. Could you introduce yourself to our audience? That probably is completely aware of everything that you do, but still.
Probably true.
This works. Okay. I got the small mic. Hi, y'all. I'm Cynthia Marie. I play Nellie G on LA by Night and Coco on New York by Night. I do all the little role play streams, guest roles. It's too early in the morning for me to talk right now, but yeah, that's who I am. There you go.
And on my left, I was like left, right, which one is one? I do not have to introduce the man.
It's me,
the
I'm
man.
Second position.
But in your own words, Alex.
Hi, I'm Alexander Ward. I play Jasper and Isaac, and Outstar stole my voice this month.
Oh.
But yeah, I do vampire stuff in tabletop or not.
So we will take some questions from the audience in a bit, but I wanted to start by warming up everyone with some background. I do assume that probably some of you here have already seen some interviews with my wonderful guests, or saw some streams, or some behind the scenes, but still I am going to bore you a little bit with the intro questions and with the basic stuff. But just to get the things running, how did it start? How did LA by Night come to your lives and non-lives?
At least for me, I had friends who were working at Geek and Sundry at the time, and I hadn't really done anything with the channel before. And my friend Matthew Key was one of the creative directors at the time, and they were doing this They were talking about doing the show with World of Darkness. I had played a lot when I was in high school, but I hadn't played since probably I was 19, and we started the show in 2017. Jesus.
Tell me about it.
And so my friend just was like, "Hey, we're doing this horror show about vampires. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And I was shooting other stuff at the time, and they called me and finally and showed me what it was. I was like, "Oh, we're doing." They didn't say Vampire the Masquerade. They were just like, "We're doing a vampire show." And I was like, "All right, yeah, man, whatever." And then I got really excited because it was World of Darkness and Vampire the Masquerade, and I was so excited to come back and play. And then I didn't meet any of you until way after I said I was doing the show.
Well, you and I...
We know each other for a long time, but I didn't know you were part of the show.
Yeah, same.
So it was a situation that I said I was doing the show, and then I heard nothing. And then I went to Gen Con of my own volition and ran into Jason, who I had met years before in a completely different context, and just meeting each other in a Gothic club once. And I was like, "You're running the game?" And then I was like, "Who else is playing?" He's like, "Oh, B-Dave Walters and the American." I was like, "Oh, okay, people I know. I knew of B-Dave, I knew of Eric, and I knew Cynthia." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, great, that's fine." And then we started later, and then that's how it started, I guess.
Cynthia, how about you?
For me, I was already doing streams. I was on a D&D stream. We won't talk about what stream that was.
My ex-girlfriend.
The tea.
That is a whole other chapter we can talk about. Anyway,
The love panel, really?
Yeah, Jason and I had been friends for a long time. We met on. Were you on the set? Were you on the Kickstarter for BNS for the King Mary?
I was. Well, no, yeah, I didn't book. I did.
But you didn't shoot. Okay.
No, I did. I did photographs for the finance studios.
Okay.
But I didn't do. But I'm now remembering I did meet Jason because of. Yes. Of that. Yeah.
Right. There's a long. So hold on. Let's start from the very beginning. How Alex and I met. Alex and I met at a sword fight practice.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
We both did stunt fighting. I came in because I was dancing and choreographing for a masquerade ball in Southern California. We don't have to talk about it.
And I came in because the guy who ran the team taught at the acting academy that I graduated from. He was like, you should come join my team.
So there forged a long professional and friendship through all of that. There was a lot of drama there too, and we both kind of like split ways.
Yeah.
I went off to go do some more streaming, doing D&D, actor, character work, and all that kind of stuff. So like separate worlds, right? So Jason and I had shot the Queen Mary Kickstarter video for By Night Studios when he was a part of BNS. That's how I met Jason and had a long friendship. Flash forward through all these years, and he comes to me like during these screens, and he's like, "Hey, I know you've been LARPing vampire for some time. Like, I'd really love to, have you on this vampire show." And I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "We're introducing V5," and I was like, "Sweet!" Like, I never actually played tabletop because my first introduction to vampire was in Las Vegas at By Night Studios, Blood and Betrayal. I think it was Blood and Betrayal 2. Yeah, because I was just, I know, right? Yeah. Anyway, so I got pulled in and, asked who's going to be in it, of course. And I knew B-Dave when I was a dancer, a choreographer for Ben Moody, and B-Dave was his security. And I knew Erica from LOJ, and I knew Alex. Yeah, that was also a whole.
I'm recovering memories.
Yes, it's also early in the morning. Anywho, so all of that to say, I was told about it, I was really excited, and we all kind of got together, and it was like exciting to kind of read through the V5 material. I was on the playtest for it as well. You did the playtest, right?
No.
No?
No, I just kind of, I didn't even know there was a V5. Speaking of, I didn't know there was a V5 until I got hired for the show. I was like, oh, they're doing a new edition? Great, because it had been forever. So, yeah, I didn't do any playtesting for it.
Yeah, okay, all right. So I was in the room with B-Dave, Taliesin, myself, and Kyle, all like kind of going through, and I was reading through Toreador, of course, because that was my starter plan. I won't say that it was like my initial first plan, because my initial first plan was in Sombra. But yeah, play tested, got into the stream, and it's been happily ever after.
So I told some of you this.
Yeah, that's why we're laughing.
Yeah, the first time we were making characters,
God.
you had decided to be a Tremere. I was going to be a Tremere. No, it's fine. It worked out fine. But it was funny because I was coming from shooting Nosferatu in SpongeBob to come to the meeting to then become a Nosferatu in the game accidentally. And so I had a Tremere idea that I was like, I had played Nosferatu a lot when I played in the home games. And I wanted to do something different, so I was like, well, I'll be a Tremere, and I like the way Tremere's going in V5 because I never really cared about Tremere before. And
SpongeBob cursed you.
SpongeBob cursed me.
They saw your face and they were like, okay.
He's gonna flick light switch on. No, so I came in, I was like, I want to do this, and then you would like, and I had been slightly late to the meeting because I was coming from set, and you were like, actually, I was going to do a Tremere, and me needing to absolutely not double up on anything with a character, and it's just a fault of my own. I'm like, no, you're doing that, I'm not doing that. Chose something completely different.
Cynthia, how did the switch from Toreador to Tremere happen for you?
So I'm trying to build this character. Same premise though. Like I've been playing Toreador and I wanted to play something different. So I was like, can I try doing a Tremere? Mm-hmm. I tried building up this like magical investigator that was gonna investigate like lineages and this, that. It's just supposed to be kind of almost conspiracy theorist, like on blogs and stuff like that. It never came to fruition, and the night that we went to go do the escape room.
Oh yeah, when we did the Dracula.
Escape
LA
room.
by Night escape room. Like, where are the cameras? We don't see that.
Yeah.
I think there's at least one
It
picture.
was like a team building exercise. I think there was some like talk at some point that they were gonna do a World of Darkness escape room in LA. That
I wrote that.
happened.
That's awesome.
Sometimes Jason says shit to me that I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we solved it.
Yeah, we finished.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we like at the last second though.
This is all the content you came for.
Yes. Anywho, so we all went out to dinner, and I was driving Jason back to his apartment, and he was like, "Look, You gave it a try, but it's not working.
Jason!
No, I was like, okay, I feel it, right? Like, I understood. And she goes, what if? He goes, well, let's troubleshoot this. What if you played a tornado? And I was like, I don't want to do it. So we sat down, and I kid you guys not, like, we sat down for 20 minutes and wrote all of Nellie G's, like, character sheet, which you guys all know how long it takes to do a V5. Exactly. So to have done it in 20 minutes, it was just kind of like, oh. Yeah, she's supposed to be a toreador, damn it.
I just made it to Premiere anyway. It was okay.
Well, we have mentioned the man, Jason Carl.
Yeah.
We all bond over the fact that we love talking behind the back of Jason. He likes us,
Yes.
but I don't know how he still likes us after all.
I don't understand.
I was actually just texting him. He says hi to everyone.
Yeah, he's such a sweetheart. He keeps on checking on us. Are you having fun? He's like a dad figure.
Oh,
Basically.
we all miss him. You doing the D&D in the castle right now?
Yeah.
I think he's already out of
finished
that.
it.
Let's go back to stuff.
Yeah, he had so much fun. He has been that there to everyone as well. But
Someone text him back, we all miss him too.
We will.
absolutely.
We all hate him.
We like the fun choices though.
So the man. By the way, I was going to say when we are having the wine tasting or anything happening in there, I know nothing about wine, and I always just like take pictures of the menus and I send them to Jason. I was like, what should I get? You can tweet that to him. I think he'll be, or send it to Instagram to him. I think he'll be happy to give you recommendations. Just selling his services right now. But anyway, speaking of the man. I know that there's been a lot of questions on these panels asked before. How scripted is it? Yeah. But I want to ask a different question. I want to ask, how much did Jason keep you in the dark when it comes to his plans?
No, for me it was on purpose. I need to not be told stuff. I don't want to be told anything. I want to have it happen in front of me, because part of the fun of playing these games to me is not knowing what's going to happen and experiencing the story along with the people who are watching. Because I don't give a shit that you're watching. I just want to play the game. So I just want to play vampire, and I happen to be doing it with cameras on and in costume and whatever, but I'm still playing vampire, so I don't want to know what's coming. And there are times, because we are doing a show, that I need to know something, that I need to be able to be prepared for, like, we're going to have a loud noise on set, so you just need to know this is going to happen.
To the ground.
Yeah. But other than that, other than things I need just to know for production to work smoothly, I don't want to tell them.
What about you, Cynthia? How much in the dark you were, and how much shocked you were by his dark plans?
I was pretty much kept in the dark as well. I'm very similar to Alex. I didn't want to know too much. He would give us an outline of what the story is. He wouldn't read it. I so we kind of view story beats, but not the full story. He'll kind of coach us and be like, "Hey, I need you to get to this point in the story, in an hour," and then 45 minutes. He's like.
I mean, to be fair, most of that was Peter's fault.
I was just about to go there.
Peter would be like, I'm going to do something else. We're like, stop doing something else.
Do you need to see?
You notice a lot of our actions is wrangling B-Dave.
I think it's halfway through the second episode, there's a moment where Jason just tears up a piece of paper because when B-Dave decided he was going to be Prince. And it was not part of the story. At all. It was not where we were going. It was just B-Dave decided to do that. Jason was like, well,
And
I guess we changed the story.
I will say I was livid when he did that, because on my character sheet for concept was becoming a baroness.
Yeah, I think she mentioned this. She mentioned this last time.
And I was indifferent. I didn't care. I was like, and then it happened, and I was like, oh, now I'm mad. I have to deal with this.
It's like everyone here had a similar experience, even when it comes to just a LARP like this, when you start, if you start playing on Friday or yesterday in the very beginning of the night, up until the end of the night, stuff happens with your character, you evolve as a character. And I was wondering, how did your characters evolve in your worlds from the beginning to the end? What was the journey in your eyes? It's something that shocked you about how your character changed. Could you
I became the mom character. What the heck? I did not expect that. I started the character as like a fashion model. Like I was gonna be like the lead, the like baroness kind of like person, take over all the power structure, and then Annabelle happened.
And mommy.
You were like sweetheart, and it was over for you.
Yeah, she kept trying to call me mom, and I was like, I was like 27, yeah. I was 27, I was just like, or 20, 29, no, 30. I'm in my 30s. Anyways, somewhere around there. I was like, I'm not ready. Like, why are you calling me mom for this? Fucking weird.
And then something awakened within you.
It did. The need for protection started happening. And so, yeah, she definitely evolved into kind of the more mom character and a fierce, like, loyal fighter for women.
It's beautiful. That's a little bit contrasting.
Jasper.
How you evolved.
Well, I think the most obvious thing is I didn't initially intend Jasper to have a romance. That was not where I was going with the character. That is not something at the time. I was in a really shitty part of my life, and I had no desire to explore a romantic relationship because the part of my life that was really shitty was a romantic relationship. So I was like, I don't want to rehash this.
That's usually how the best things happen.
But Jason and Josephine conspired against me. It was fully their idea. I had no, like, they came to me one day and they were like, oh, we're having a new an NPC, someone come in to play an NPC version of Eva, and I was like, oh, great. And then she walks in with a rose, and I was like, what's happening? But my original, I can speak, original attitude towards Eva was one of manipulation. I was going to manipulate this Tremere into allowing me to learn blood sorcery because that was Jasper's whole fucking deal. He wanted magic so fucking bad. And he, in doing that, in protecting Eva in that first like conflict when we were in Griffith Park, that sparked the idea in Jason's head that maybe this could be a different kind of thing. And he was right. I would rather that be the story that was told, and I was wrong in my initial idea of what I wanted to do. So I was actually very pleased with how that ended up turning out, and I love that story very much with the two of us. I thought it was just it was gratifying to play through, and then also to make huge mistakes that involved Chloe, and like that was all great, and like it was just having a touchstone is so important to a vampire character because it can become an entire part of your fucking story, which was one of my touchstones. So like it was I guess Jasper just kind of changed and tried to redeem himself more than I thought he was going to at the initial stage.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Because I don't think a lot of people know about Jasper's backstory. As to why there's a redemption. Like, a lot of you guys don't know about this.
Okay, so essentially, quick rundown. Jasper, wealthy in New York as a human being, shitty rich kid, just the fucking worst. Joins a society of fucking shitty rich guys pretending to be magicians. Basically being like, we're gonna drill the wood in magic. Just none of them actually having any ability to do anything, just doing like esoteric bullshit. One of them is being groomed by a Tremere. It's not Jasper. Jasper doesn't know. This guy and this Jasper and the man who's being groomed are friends. One night there's a huge argument over like a text or something that could contain magic secrets or whatever. I can't remember what I wrote. And Jasper, in a fit of passion, stabs his friend and takes the item and leaves, not knowing he has killed someone who a Tremere was grooming. He flees New York, goes to LA to try and escape everybody, changes his life, tries to hide. That Tremere hires a Nosferatu to turn him, to punish him. And that Nosferatu finds him in LA. After he's met Chloe, after he started this whole life, after he's like, I'm gonna clean up my shit, turns him and just leaves him. And that's how Jasper got turned, and that's how that all happened.
Good.
Bad boy, I've been holding on to this story.
He's not a good person. He's actively shitty. So, look, he had such a twisted, like, he could rationalize anything he did, but he would judge everybody else's. Like, you fucked up, you did this, but I'm fine. Like, that was how his brain worked. And so, like, everybody's like, he's so nice. I'm like, no, he's fucking not. He's bad. He's not as bad as Isaac, but he was bad.
Now I have to cry. Second, do you have any secret backstory elements of Nelly that you maybe want to talk about?
So my backstory wasn't as involved as this one over here, because again, we wrote mine in 20 minutes, and like literally the day, like that was like the weekend before the first shooting, which was on Friday. So like, I was working, so like there's no extensive backstory. But what I do remember of Nellie's backstory, she was a model who was in the scene in San Francisco and got into walking the catwalk and met a very naughty toreador who fell in love with her and decided that she was the one and whipped her into a relationship. And then he was like, "I'm done," and she was like, "What? Excuse me?"
Toreador was the problem.
Gets upset, loses her rage to the situation, and offs the person that he was with, realizes her action and goes, "Oh crap, this isn't good," and leaves to Los Angeles, and that's how she meets Isaac, and Isaac teaches her to be
Isaac
a little
Abrams,
bit...
not Isaac, me.
Oh, yeah. Abrams teaches Nellie how to be a little bit of a better rose, takes her to Italy, and she has a nice run-in with the La Sombra, learns how to fight La Sombra. Like, basically, like, the entire backstory of Nellie was that Abrams was really trying to teach her how to be a contributing member in society and to be this presence that you guys all kind of know her at the end.
It's nice. And that was like, I think for all of the plot lines fans, it was fun to have this like tie up.
There is a slight plot line that I forgot because it kind of got railroaded by B-Dave.
There's a theme here.
We were supposed to be paranormal investigators. It didn't happen.
The whole first season was supposed to be a ghost story, and it centered on Nellie's lineage. And the reason why she's named Petronella Griffith is because Petronella is the ghost that haunts Griffith Park. And the whole season 1 was supposed to talk all about that, and Nellie, that's why Nellie has Osbat. Well, no, she's Toreador, but that's why she was doing all the ghostly stuff and talking to Eva and like trying to find out about her family lineage, and then like, B-Dave, I'm gonna be barren.
And then Griffith Park just turned into the place where Evan and I fuck.
And the rest of
Annabelle did that.
Just for fun.
I'll just get evidence of that.
and the rest was history.
Oh, yeah.
For the record, Fairbanks was not
Yep.
Nellie, and Victor did.
Well, I think it's a very good segue to start taking questions. I'm gonna walk around.
Are you sure there's going to be some questions?
We've played these games for a long time. There's a lot of weird shit that happens.
Speaking of copulation, did
Oh my god.
Nellie and the Baron of the Valley ever
No.
suggested at one point, right, in the cemetery?
By B-Dave.
Yeah. Oh.
No, it's.
No, never happened. But being a rose, Clan of the Rose, like she's never gonna deny like that sort of story because that's fucking gold, right? Like, so I kept with it, but no, they never did. Never on Fairbanks. Nellie is a classy lady.
Yeah, also, I mean, a way to absolutely manipulate them with a Baron, you know. If they have that kind of interest in you, you're like, cool, yeah, I can use that. Like,
Yeah.
So my question is, was there any plans to go ahead and kind of bring in either more of your touchstones or more of your sire for both of you? Just kind of curious about that. You killed Chaz.
Fair.
That was like my favorite. We were all
I love Mark Mirror. He was great.
such.
I had like yes, there was a plot line to bring in. Explosives are out of control. Bring in Jasper Sire. Had a name. I didn't know him. I didn't know what Jason had planned for him, but there was a plot line we eventually could have gotten to that would have brought my sire into the game. But it was going to be a very. I think eventually ended up I think there was talks for a while. I think Liam was going to play my sire at a certain point, but it never ended up being a thing that
happened just because like there wasn't any reason to do it really. I think was what Jason and I boiled it down to is that like, yeah, we would have this conversation, but it's like, what does that achieve? What story does that open? And it didn't close off, it didn't like give any closure to anything. It was just like, okay, now I have this like weird deadbeat dad relationship. And it just didn't fit into the story, it didn't really there was no reason to do it. And by the time we kind of like got to a point where it could be introduced, it was already I think like late season 4 or season 5. And it was like, we got a bunch of other shit we gotta deal with, this is not important, like it's fine. And I was fine with it. I was more interested, which may or may not still happen. There's an idea for Isaac Sire that I think is very cool that will happen at some point, but that's the one I'd rather explore.
My sire came out because Mark Muir was in the room watching the show, and he was, right? Yeah. And he was like, I want to be on the show, and Jason was just like, could be her sire.
So, for a bit of context,
Yeah.
not to,
Yeah, no,
you know,
go
to-
ahead.
the way we started having guests on the show was partially because I was filming a movie and wasn't there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I couldn't be at some episodes because we were filming live every Friday and I was shooting. And so it would just be like, there would be nights where I was doing a night shoot and I couldn't be there. So we pulled people, Jesus. We pulled people from the Geek and Sundry roster that were around at the time to be NPCs in the show. That's how it started. So that's why Xander came in. And then Mark May was around, I think, for something else at the time. He was in town because he lives in Canada. And he just happened to be there. And so then when we needed someone to play your sire, that's kind of, he was around. We're like, oh, Mark, you know? Like,
Yeah.
So it was just like we'd grab people who were around at the time. That's why like Max came in and played Ramona. I almost said Fiona. I was like, not Fiona.
No.
Fiona, Ramona. Like they were people who were around like in town and like for friends of ours that were just like, I'm in town for this week. Great, come in. Like that was how guests ended up working.
Yep. And then as far as Nellie's touchstone, we didn't talk about it too much, but she did show up. It was her little sister.
Oh right, yeah.
We had to rescue her from the wraiths. But that was about it with my touchdown. It was I never did. I only had I had the uncle, but we never really talked about him because like.
I had Chloe. I don't remember if I had anybody.
Yeah. I think all of us had, I think the only person who had the actual full, Erica and B-Dave both had the two.
I swear I had some.
I had uncle and the sister, but my sister was the only one that showed up on camera.
I think I had like a friend or some other.
One day you had a friend.
Yeah, one time.
You had a friend?
But I think that story kind of got absorbed into X. Like once X became a thing, then that was the friend that I had, and it wasn't really a touchstone anymore, but kind of was because X is so human that it was kind of like this, like, oh well, I have this other connection to a person who is very human, just happens to be a kindred, but he kind of keeps Jasper grounded.
Hands up for the questions.
In the back.
For Jasper, the thing you brutally murdered your friend for, did it end up being anything?
Absolutely not. No, sorry, it did. It did have some importance. Now I remember it wasn't a book, it was the dagger.
Yeah.
It was the dagger that I used all the time. It wasn't magical, but I just started using it as a dagger eventually when I found out it wasn't worth anything. And I thought for a while that Jason was eventually going to be like, actually, it's special. And then he never did. And I was like, I guess I just have a fucking weird dagger.
Yes.
More questions.
Oh my gosh, hi. I know it's been a while since the show started, and like playlists are a lot for me when it comes to being characters. But is there like any particular songs that remind you of your characters, or like help you get into that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, they made me do this, by the way. I was like, I don't want to do this. And they were just like, you have to make a playlist. And I was like, I don't. All right.
Am I wrong? Do you remember right that we actually shared some playlists in the past?
We did.
We did for New York.
From New York, yeah. So you can actually search for them. Yeah, they're online.
I don't have anything against making playlists. I just don't do that for character creation. It's not part of my thing because in my brain, the actor stuff, my music I listen to and know about does not represent the characters. Like they would listen to stuff that I don't know about, and so it's a weird crossover of like I can't suggest music for a character
because then that puts a part of me in the character I don't want in the character, and listening to songs that I like or mean something to me means something to me and not the character. So it's this weird blurring of the line. So when they were like, make a playlist, I was like, here's a bunch of fucking songs, I don't know.
I'm opposite. Being a dancer, I relate to the music, and I have
I listen to music, it's just...
You needed one song that relates to the characters?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
No, I do have one that works for Jasper that I did end up finding eventually, which is...
I'm quite sure if you will type Jasper or Nelly G, LA by Night in Spotify search, other people made playlists for you.
There is a Jasper Hartwood playlist that I have made, and it's like 150 songs or something.
Oh my lord.
No, it's not. No, it's 150 saves.
Link, please.
Nobody likes to play.
Right. Link.
No, it's only like it's like 2 hours of music, but
Mine's 2 hours of music too.
it's After the Fall by Chelsea Wolfe.
Nice.
That's a good.
I have two. I think the one that actually gets me in the headspace of Nelly is called The Wild Card by Really Slow Motion. But the other one after Gabe I would listen to is I can't look it up loud. Call Me Mother by RuPaul.
I think there's also
The kind of sense it would be voguing.
yeah.
Hey, look, hold on, wait, no, I was formally trained in popping, locking, and voguing, so that kind of naturally just happened to come out.
I want to happily say that the voguing emojis on our Twitch channel for Darkness are very much super used. Like, yes.
There's also Daniel by Bats for Lashes that works for Jasper.
Oh, I love that song too.
Yeah, you're in charge of this.
What?
This is you do your thing.
I do. Okay, good. I will.
I'm going all day about these
Wow.
songs.
Crossing me around. Sure.
So, out of character, what were both of y'all's reactions to the calling of Praxis from Vannevar and the Jasper becoming sheriff and also the B-Dave claiming Praxis? What was like your out of character other
You're sitting
than
next to me, Dave, during that.
other than just why are you steamrolling? Like, what was your reaction?
I literally had no reaction. Like, I was like, did you just say you're gonna do this? Like, the
I think I was absorbed with something else and I was just like, what?
Yeah. As far as Vannevar calling Praxis, it was laughable. Because I think it happened off camera at first, right?
Yeah, I don't think we saw it. Like it was like we just got told it happened.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of the stuff with the camera, like, we didn't have too many interactions with them until like later on. So anytime we had like conflict with the cam, it was like, all right, well, this is an NPC, we're gonna take it out. It wasn't until they actually showed up on set with like Amelia and Brian that was like, oh.
Yeah, or Brian Stone. Goddamn pretty bad.
Oh, that's a funny story.
Jason gave away my book of Nod to Brian Deckard. Because he thought it was his, and I was like, that's my fucking book.
Yeah.
It's fine, that's the end of the story. Continue.
No, I would say that I, as a player, had to fear the scene where Nelly sits down with the entire Camarilla
Oh, yeah. I forgot
and
about
basically tells them to go fuck themselves. In my little anarch leather jacket, I was so proud of that.
Nice.
I, as a player, got really scared because I sassed Brian. Cynthia was sassing Brian, but I forgot that I was on stream, and I saw Jason's face, and I was like, did I just say that on camera? Shit. And like trying to back that trolley up, but it was too late. But thank God I did not die. It was successful, and yeah, so I think that's probably the only time like I really like was afraid of like somebody being more powerful at that point. Yeah.
My favorite thing about that whole situation is that BA specifically came up with a very particular plan, which was for me to infiltrate the Cambrian, say yes to being the sheriff, and get in there and play it double agent. And then we went to have the meeting with the Cambrian, and he immediately blew it up. And I was like, we had a plan. So that's why there's the episode where Jasper goes in, and, we're at the party, and he's wearing the glasses, the whole thing. Jasper wanted to die, but was a complete coward and wouldn't kill himself. So he
he needed someone to do it for him. And so that's why he keeps putting himself in situations where he's like, cool, this person's gonna kill me. And then it never happened. I kept trying, and there were situations where I'd be like, Jason, I put myself in a situation where you have to kill me, do it. And he'd find some way around it, and I was like, coward. I love dying in RPGs, so it's fine. The reaction to Vannevar and everything, I don't think Jasper fully understood what was happening until it actually affected me. And the whole sheriff thing, it was a situation where I thought, another space where I thought I was going to die when we were saving the Weird Sisters and running down that, stairway attached to the parking garage in the Grove. It's amazing how much of this I remember. And I had been lit on fire twice. And I came down and Jason narrated that on the other side of the door there were the sheriff was there with his goons, and I was like, cool, here's where I die, let's go. Because Jasper doesn't know they're there. And so he's going to kick open the door and try and get out. He's going to run into these people and they're just going to murder him. Because also, by the rules of Vampire and the stats I had on my sheet, there was no way I was winning that fight. There just wasn't. As Jasper had been a vampire for 5 years, there was no way he was going to take out the sheriff and a bunch of other dudes. And then I rolled dice. And I rolled so many criticals that I got in V5, it requires 10 successes to behead somebody. I rolled 12 successes.
Jesus.
So it was just like I guess I win. And then Jason narrated it, and that was the whole thing. And it was just like, there was no reason that should have worked. There was no world where that was going to be a thing. And then I just rolled a bunch of dice.
That's what dice do.
Yeah, it changes the story. So much of that was Jasper desperately just trying to exist in a space where he did not belong and definitely felt he didn't belong. So the whole thing with going to the Succubus Club and being made to walk is a really fucked up thing. And it became a joke in the community for a while, and I was very adamant. I was like, no, this isn't funny. It's not Victoria Ash? Yes, that is. Victoria Ash is purposely humiliating Jasper because she thinks he's lower than her and he's a piece of shit and should be humiliated and used as a jester, essentially. And so it was just a lot of things of he lived in a world with Nellie G and Victor Temple, who were these became big players, these people and all glamorous and whatever, and ended up being this leader of a revolution. He's just this piece of shit who follows them around. And he never figured out how to, and still doesn't know how to exist in those spaces. He doesn't want to be there, but he kept being dragged around to these places where people are like, you suck. He's like, I know. I don't want to be here.
The echo goes around the room. I can fix him.
So much of the so much
so many comments like that. Sure, let's go.
So many questions to ask, but I guess what I want to ask for Jasper on this is, after the events of LA by Night, you lost Xander, potentially lost Eva after a fashion, and you headed to New York. To be honest, I fully expected Jasper to show up in New York by now. I thought you went to New York.
Annabelle went to New York.
Oh,
Okay.
I
She went to start the revolution.
I might have said something about going out there at some point.
Yeah, I thought.
But
I thought you'd gone with her, but
I never did. Jasper never. Jasper never.
you are Jasper.
Is there a chance you could go?
I guess it's what. Obviously, he kind of broke away from the coterie because he was like, I'm done with all this crap. What was where? I guess inside of where did he probably head at that point? Just on the ground, starting a new existence, new coterie.
Well, I think there was a reason why the coterie broke up, in that it didn't, with the situation that everyone found themselves in, i.e. you being there in Hollywood, Victor being there in Annabelle, going off and doing her thing. We weren't a coterie. A coterie is a place for legends and vampires to protect themselves and to find a place in the world. But then most of you became players in the world as you went your own right. There wasn't a need for there to be a coterie anymore. Jasper was like, this is stupid. I'm just going to get killed as a byproduct of all of you doing your things. And
And you have other people who are better at protecting you than I am or want to. So that was part of the reason for him being like, I'm fucking done with this. You're gonna get me killed. By that point in the show, he had things he wanted to go for. So we're still around. The X thing is really proven to fix X.
I don't think it's working.
The button is very light.
You're not the first one this weekend.
It's also Jasper's very interested in solving the problem with X. It deals with his obsessive nature, but also he wants to fix his friend. He doesn't need to follow Annabelle. He's not compelled to. He doesn't need to go to New York. Also, going to New York opens up a whole host of problems for him. Whether they exist in reality, but in his brain, it's like going back to New York is where everything went down, and he doesn't want to go back there. He's not pursuing. He's not pursuing Eva to fix that, and does not know what happened. He felt very defeated by that whole situation, and so he's actually, as far as the direct events of LA by Night, and as far as what happens right after, because I have my thoughts on what happens far down the line, but maybe that'll come up at some point. Right after LA by Night, he basically continues to work with Archangel. He just goes back to the only other person who still exists that he cares about, which is his touchstone Chloe. And so he ends up working with her and like protecting her operations and obviously working under Nellie for official reasons, and that he lives in Hollywood and she is his Baron, and then continues to do shit in the Labyrinth and do stuff, which, by the way, if you all thought I was special for coming out with the Labyrinth, I'm not. It's an abortion.
Real quick, I would say, Nellie, one of the actions that I had written down in my notebook, and I could go look at it, was she gave Jasper the entirety of the Labyrinth, as long as Golden was okay with it. And also I had a note to work in the Magic Castle to hand it to you.
He's probably doing that. He will not let Gary in there if he can help it, because purely at this point it's funny to him. That Gary can't get in. And the fact that this other Nosferatu wants in there so badly, he's like, no, it's mine. He's mainly working with Archangel, I think, because she's doing interesting work and important thing that is helping Kindred, but is also fucking with people who are shitty, and like but it puts her in a dangerous position, so he wants to make sure she doesn't get destroyed, and X was the one who was kind of protecting her in as much as he could, but now that he's gone,
I want to follow this up actually, because for a potential one-day reunion of the LA by Night, what is Nellie doing right now? What will be the grounds for the continuation of the story?
Oh, good question. She's definitely running her Hollywood studios, I think, trying to. Well, so it's interesting.
The amount of work I'm getting lately, she's not doing.
I have it in my head that she's probably trying to pull in all of the Hollywood studios under her umbrella and try to maintain kind of peace. I think probably later down the road, if there is because I don't think there's a Baron right now for Santa Monica area.
Oh, right.
So I think if that continued on, I think she would probably slowly try to grasp Hollywood studios like in Culver City, and start kind of taking more territory that maybe not necessarily hers. Yes, exactly. So I think she's trying to maintain all of Abrams' assets and probably trying to unfold some of the secrets that Abrams left her. Remember, we didn't even get to talk about this part of the story. He left her an entire safe with a bunch of things that
Scrooge McDuck safe.
Yeah, pretty much. And there were items in there that I kept asking Jason, okay, what is this? He's like, we'll get to that later. I was like, okay, what about this? And he's like, we'll get to that. We never got to it, so I'm pretty sure she'd be sitting there being in a safe, being like, what is this?
I mean, also, and part of the reason why Jasper, at the end there, chose to be Nellie in a working capacity is that also he, for a while, had seen Victor become more and more believing himself to be the one who could fix all problems and be the one who was the most important.
And Jasper wanted to shake that up in him a little bit and be like, no, don't make me fuck with you because he assumed in you becoming Baron that gave him access to your territory.
Yep.
He just assumed.
Yep.
Because we had all been to coterie, and he's like, well, everything the coterie does is mine. I was like, no, it's not. You now are on equal footing. And so it was just purely a moment of Jasper being like, don't forget that you're not special. Like, you don't get to be none of us are special, and specifically not you.
That whole implosion was interesting though too, because like he kept putting Nellie in the limo that was her sire who didn't take care of her at all. So like
yeah, that was fucked up.
So every time that Victor kept trying to grab Nellie's stuff, she's like, "What the? This is mine. Like I worked hard for this. Like you just." You just called it. Like I've been working years to get to this point. Like why do you think that this is yours? So basically at the very end where he was just like, well, are we good? And I was like, no, we're not. Like you're the Baron of the Valley. I'm the Baron of Hollywood. Like you're gonna come step to me, come talk to me, like as a Baron, not because I'm this paramour you think that I am. And then honestly, my favorite part was having talked to Handler. Second, he was an SI, right?
Oh, yeah, Fruit,
yeah. So having gotten that as a contact, remembering it on that, right? Yeah. Having gotten that as a contact at the very end and being able to basically now have charge over mortal affairs essentially with the Second Inquisition, having all of the stuff with Abrams, like Nellie is pretty damn powerful at this point. She's just looking at Victor being like, what now?
The reason I was laughing is because, Fruit came in to play a Handler, but he had been in the epilogue and asked Handler earlier on when they were like, I think it was like Chloe shit. But there's a line that he says and that makes me laugh every time because he's doing this accent. But then there's for some reason a book of Nod on the table when they're like shuffling around papers and he goes, what is this, the book of Nod?
Okay, so we have to wrap up slowly, but we have time for 2 more questions.
Talk about this all day.
Sure. So you're waiting for it.
So obviously, because there was, it was originally supposed to be one season where you had like the Monster of the Week sort of concept, which got quickly derailed, and you had several consecutive seasons. In hindsight, there's like a lot of plot lines that you managed to go through. But hindsight-wise, is there any sort of plot line that, looking back, you're like, I really wish I got a chance to do that?
My whole damn ghost story.
Yes.
Way late, like completely got. I wish we could have explored that a little bit more, especially because there was so much history that Jason actually did. He did a lot of research on Griffith Park itself, and like it got way late to like a paragraph, which was really sad because it's a really cool place and very scary, haunting situation. And like the battle between Petronella and like her whole family, like how like the land got basically taken away. Yeah. How the land got taken away from her family, a Mexican family, and given off to Griffith J. Griffith. It's a really sad story, and like, Griffith J. Griffith, yes. So not like it's a sad cultural story that like deserved its redemption to like come back into the folds of the generational child to take. So that's why it was important to me to like get that land deed and give it back to the family so that it was back in their hands. But yes, I wish I would have had more time with that particular storyline.
I didn't have any storylines. The way I build character, I don't plan anything past the moment of character generation. So I had no plot lines that I wanted to explore or didn't want to explore. I left the story up to what happened when they came. And then, anything that would come up because of touchstones or anything like that would be something I would have to interact with. So I knew everything that had happened up until the moment we all were at the college that first episode. And then after that, I didn't know what was going to happen, so I just reacted to whatever happens. And I also like playing that way because it does not set up like this particular situation where I have a story that I want to explore and then it doesn't get explored. And like if I go to the effort of putting something together like that, I want to explore it. If it doesn't, I'm like, I'm wasting a bunch of time doing this thing. So I learned earlier in my playing experiences to just be like, no, cool stories will happen. and they'll come from just emerging in play, and that's fine. And I like those stories, and I don't need to do anything. There's nothing I'm looking to explore, and that might be different now if I were to start then, or start these characters now. But then that's how I felt. That's how I wanted to go. I enjoy the story of Ellie Night a lot, and I liked where it went, so I don't have anything that I wish I had explored.
That's a good way of looking. I started looking at the games very much like that now too. And I think if there's any advice to anybody who's like trying to get on like or doing streams and stuff like that, it's like try not to get too attached to like your character, the story, like that big story that you want to tell. Like make your character enjoy the story. That's
Yeah.
Find your real nemesis right there.
Yeah,
The
the
microphone.
Yeah, I know. What is making a noise? It's hard to do my phone off. Yes, so I hope that answers your question.
Last question.
The last question.
Hey. Okay, so I don't know if you can actually answer this question. Because I was going to drop this, and then you said something, and it made me think of it again. You said there's no Baron in Santa Monica right now. And
I think Therese / Jeanette's in hiding.
Yeah.
And X is in the water. And I've always had this mentality, I've never really seen them all together, so is X the third woman? You can't answer the question, I just want to put that here with the camera.
No.
God damn it.
If X is, I don't know about it. Like, as far as I know, no.
Okay.
But Xander may have different ideas. Or Xander Jason
There's
might
just
have.
always been a hint of a third.
Yeah. I don't know what they were doing.
And X is so abused.
Yeah. Maybe that's the true
As far as I know, in my dealings with X, he is his own person. But that might be a thing they hid and none of us ever knew. I don't know.
Well, now Jason will know about this, so the idea was planted.
Somebody's watching.
Congratulations.
I told him I'm going to make him a bunch of stuff and completely ruin the name element. All of this is going to lie.
Water battle.
Wow, the sound.
Yeah, Jasper says is not Jasper, that's me.
Well, thank you so much for indulging us in all
I'll
of
talk
that.
about more stuff.
Me too. Behind the scene knowledge. I mean, of course, you can probably try to chase these wonderful people throughout the corridors. They are very approachable. I know I just set you up.
We have the signing next. Yeah, we have the meet and greet signing next, so if you want to ask more questions.
Yeah, so if you want to come meet us now in the room next door.
Come meet me in the other room.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and have fun tonight in the LARP.